OTC. OTC. Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC?
Welcome to On the Chain. You're here on the HODL Review. This is Jeff. Looking forward to today's conversation. Got a bunch of people bouncing into the room today. We are going to go through Ripple, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so many more of the digital assets, including Bitcoin. Looks like I might be getting a little bit of a lag delay. If I am, make sure you guys let me know. Hey, there's an issue with the audio. There's an issue with the video. If not, make sure you guys give yourselves a shout out. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from, because we have people that are tuning in virtually from all over the world. So yeah, when we go through, also make sure you grab a cup of your favorite espresso coffee. Today is another day of Segfredo Day, but check out these cool cups, man. These are pro, man. These are like legit, cafe style espresso cups, and man, some high quality red bag Segfredo. So man, grab yourself some of that, because we got a ton of stuff to talk about. Oh shit. And it's all getting ready to start right now. All right, and we're back. This is awesome. All right, I'm ready to go. You guys ready to go? Let's see who we got in here. We got Bakir Boozbay all the way in from Denmark. And we've got Leon Steer from Oman. Awesome. Welcome to On the Chain. We've got Top all the way in from, wait a minute, Fresno. Eric in from Fresno. But we got Ukraine. We've got a little bit of love coming in from Russia. Man, yesterday we had some people in from Saudi Arabia, commenting in. We got some people here from Miami, all the way in from KC. So, the point being, we got people that are coming in from all over the world. So this is great. Oh, look at this. I love it, man. Tony coming in here from Ireland. A lot of great places in Ireland. If you guys ever get a chance to go to Ireland, make sure, obviously, Dublin, #1 stop over there. But you go down a little bit south of Dublin, there's a place called Glendalough, and they have the Glendalough Mountains over there. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that is probably one of the most fascinating places. Ireland in general, all over Ireland is outstanding. But funny story as we're getting started here, we're going to talk about some digital asset. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about some XRP and Ethereum. We're going to go through the big winners, big losers. But real funny story. I was in Ireland. A lot of times I have conferences over in Europe, so always use Ireland as like as a pass through. Go over there, spend a couple nights on the way home. It's just a lot easier. And so anyhow, so one day we're there and we said, okay, hey, let's go down. We're recommending go check out Glendalough and go check out the mountains over there. So we're like, all right, we'll go down there. Went jeans, just maybe some running shoes, light jacket, grabbed a bottle of water, started walking up this mountain. And there's this whole loop that you can make around the top of the mountain over there. It's like a big bowl with a beautiful lake in the middle. Then you kind of get to the top of the mountain. And as you start walking around, you can see some old ruins that are in there. I mean, it was spectacular. But here, my buddy and I were walking up the mountain, and we get people that are up there hiking with their backpacks. And, you know, we're just trying to get a good view. We end up walking, I don't know, like 15 miles or something like that as we're trying to go through the entire thing. But we flew up it. You know, we were hiking and walking at a pretty good clip. We only had a bottle of water. So it was quite an experience. But anyhow, yeah, make sure you guys go over there. We got South Korea tuning in here as well. We got Keep Hold from South Korea, as well as who else just came in here from Kadu. So another great place. If you ever get over to what's this, Eric? I thought you were gonna say a lion at the top of the mountain. I don't know if there's mountain lions there. We didn't run into any, but all right, where should we get started? You know, one place that I want to get started today will be on, man, Niranjan coming in from India. I'm trying to see how many places. I haven't been to Belfast yet. That's a next on the list when we get over to Ireland. Haven't been to Malaysia or Cyprus. Been all over India. India is a great place. So let's see here. What's this? What? Tony's saying the food's not great in Ireland. Family in Italy. Yeah, food in Italy, outstanding. But I found actually the food in Ireland, I mean, comfort food, you know, if you like fish and chips and stew, but I found some really outstanding restaurants over in Ireland as well. So been to Belgium, haven't made it to Finland yet, haven't made it to Australia yet, but man, Belgium, another great place. You know, it could be a lot of fun over there. go in that area. So there's a beer called Delirium, and there's a bar over in where was it? I forget exactly where it was. But you go into this bar called Delirium, and they have like 2,000 or 3,000 beers in the back, and then you can order anything. They give you like an encyclopedia to order your beers from, which is crazy. So man, we got KM tuning in from Afghanistan. Welcome, KM. So all right. All right. So what are we gonna do? Let's go over here. Let's share a little bit of some of the good news, some of the bad news, some of the big winners, some of the big losers of today. So I want to start out. Let's look at who some of the potential big winners of today are. And number one big winner, as it has been, as it's ramping up, you would think it would be Bitcoin, but number one big winner, man, I'm putting as Binance Coin. Why am I putting as Binance Coin? Because Binance Coin is currently sitting at, and they passed $300. So Binance Coin at $298, up 13% in the past 24 hours. But the volume is insane. So you're looking at, it was this 13 billion, right? $13 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Market cap sitting at 50 billion. I mean, it's really amazing. Oh, that's the fully diluted market cap. All right, so 46 billion. BNB, the number one winner of today, you know, big, you know, changes in valuation as well as price point. Now, if you look back here where, let's see, where were we in January? January 8th, it was hovering at $42. Now, that wasn't the lowest, because as you kind of scale back, not that far, when we're like in April, May timeframe, you're in the double low digits. So it bottomed out. I don't want to say bottomed out, but it was $9 in March of of last year. So and let me see. Obviously, this is the all-time, growth here. But if you just go 1 year ago, obviously a lot of the assets were really low, but you're coming from a place of like $9. And then now, as it's scaled up over the past couple months here, you're scaling up. And so we knew there was a little bit of movement going on back in like November, December. But look, December, it's hovering at the $30 mark. Now, like I said, right before kind of takeoff here, it goes a little parabolic. At end of January, it's sitting at like $41, $40. And then now we start seeing some lift off here in February to where it's sitting at this 300. This is, to me, this is the big winner of the day right now and yesterday, because Binance Coin sitting right now in the number 3 spot. So what did that do? That pushes XRP all the way down to the number 7 spot. So above XRP, you have a couple other big winners. Obviously, the next big winner there, you would think again, would be Bitcoin. But I'm looking at Ethereum right now as a big winner, sticking in that number 2 spot. But Ethereum was stuck. It was stuck at that $1,700 mark, as Bitcoin and many of the other assets had been pushing and pushing and pushing. And finally, yesterday, Ethereum eclipses $2,000. And now we're seeing it sit strong over that $2,000 mark. And then obviously, number 1 winner here, well, number 3 winner, I would say, would be Bitcoin, which is now at $57,000 on the Bitcoin. Obviously, if I go down, I could even maybe swap that out and might say, hey, Polkadot has been blasting through the roof. But you know what? I want to give another shout out to Cardano, because 2 weeks ago, Cardano was sitting at 60 cents and under, and now look at it. It's over $1. It's at $1.10, and it's pushing to all new height. I mean, that is, really, really impressive to really look and say, hey, what's going on, with the space. Uniswap, another one, 2 weeks ago, sitting at like $18, $19, and now it's up to $27, up 23% in the last 7 days. So I like that, like seeing that growth. And even Bitcoin Cash, that kind of surprised me, kind of coming out of nowhere again and getting back up into the higher digits. Dogecoin, I'm going to put as the big loser overall. I mean, obviously, he was doing pretty well, sitting in that 4 to 5 cent range. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. There's a lot of people that think Dogecoin is going to blast through and become like this, a massive asset, but maybe it will. I don't know. I'm out of Dogecoin right now. Personally, I was in, made some money. I came out. I don't know. Maybe that's something, I've been in and out of Dogecoin multiple times and made money on it, each time. And it's been, it's interesting. It's interesting to watch. But I did hear some rumors, not sure if it's true, that Flare might be somehow utilizing Doge. I don't know, just like they're using Litecoin. That could be completely 100% rumor. So anyhow, so those are some of the big winners of the day. But I do want to go through and talk a little bit about some of the big losers as well. Before we get into the big losers, I got to find my way back to where we're streaming over here. There were some comments. So Tony said here, some big news to be released for ADA Cardano within the next week, could push past $2 plus. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's so difficult to figure out in this space. There's so much movement going on in this space. Man, it's impressive. It really, really, really is impressive. Hang on, let me scroll here. Let me see. Where is it? Here we go. All right, all the way to the top. Oh, it's gone already. All right, there was a great comment right in the beginning. Someone had this awesome comment, and it's now out of my view. I can't scroll back up to that comment. I don't know what happened to it. All right, here's Coles. So this is a good point. You know, we'll get into the losers here in a minute, the big losers. But all right, what are your thoughts on former SEC chair Mary Jo White and her latest comment? So it's another chair or former chair that came out and said the SEC case is weak. It's extremely weak. If you go back and you review Chip and I, you know, we did a great review of the amended complaint by the SEC and kind of tore into it. There's a lot of fluff built into that case. And even, you know, Mary Jo White and others have come out and said, hey, you know what? SEC, you guys have a very, very weak case, and you're trying to wrap it, and you're trying to really, one of the things that we reviewed, even, you know, from the original complaint to the amended complaint, is that they're on a mission of a character assassination. And that was actually one of the comments. Someone said, you know, what exactly is, you know, is the point, you know, with what's going on, you know, and that's what it looks like. It looks like it's kind of a premeditated attack against Ripple. It does seem somewhat politically motivated, and from politically motivated, I'm not talking about, you know, coming from one of the parties necessarily, but there are other politics involved, especially when it comes from your competition, when it comes from Swift. And we know that Swift, being a conglomerate of 10,000 plus banks, they're not going to go down lightly. And they have a massive influence pull in the space in general. Think about all the lobbyist power that they have, that Swift holds, due to the fact that all of these major banks are a part of the conglomerate. So these guys are not going to go down quietly, and they're going to keep at it. So if we're going to talk about from a politically motivated perspective, you know, then a lot of this, the case, I mean, it's amazing that they would even put a case like that together. And this is coming from, you know, bigger people within the space that are saying this. You know, we tore it down and just try to analyze, hey, you know, what in the world is going on here? This isn't the norm. You can look at it, I guess an attorney can look from and dissect it from a legal, you know, case perspective and try to analyze it against other cases and blah, 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 whatever, you know, but you could all just look at the language, look at how they phrase it, look at what their objective is, and then you have to take a step back and say, what in the world is the SEC's objective? Because the one thing that has been very clear, and actually with the big losers, you know, of the day are retail investors. We talked about that as the losers of the day Thursday. The losers of the day today are retail investors still, XRP investors, other retail investors in the space. We're seeing that the SEC isn't doing what their responsibility is supposed to be, which is to protect retail investors. But what do? They bend over backwards to do the exact opposite of protecting retail investors. And we're going to go through and show multiple points to really, it's almost like proof positive that the SEC is going above and beyond their call of duty to actually antagonize the retail investor, and they're being aided and embedded by certain representatives within Congress. That's it. So let's go. We'll go into those, you know, winners and losers here in a second. Want to give a shout out to my man here from Israel, Yossi Bazalel. What does that say? Bezalel. Manyani Machi. Okay, so let's go down here. What do we got here? Nigeria. Nice. Daniel, what is going on? Tuning in all the way from Nigeria. Sorry, I'm here we go. Better now. Dried out. Every time I turn on the dehumidifier over here, then all of a sudden it gets too dry, and it was really damp today. So anyhow, let's go down. Let's go down. Let's go down. Here we go. Coles, you are welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so big losers. Where are we? I've got got too many things open here trying to navigate through this conundrum here. So okay, let's start here. Let me go back over here. Here we go. So let's start with this one. So we want to look at big losers. What is going on with what happened over at GameStop? How is this important, and how does it impact what's going on in the digital asset space? There's a lot of similarity and crossover in what's going on, because what we're seeing is this new generation of investors. So some are old investors that are finding a new way of investing, meaning a new mechanism of communicating their investing, and also then investing in the digital asset space, which we know is relatively brand new. It's only been around for 10, 11 years. It's growing by leaps and bounds. And the traditional brick and mortars are terrified as to what's going on. But the traditional brick and mortar financial institutions are terrified by what's going on, because as this space grows, yes, there's tons of money sitting on the sidelines. We see a ton of money coming in, from big corporations going into Bitcoin as well. The CEO of MicroStrategy has said that. Elon Musk has said that from Tesla. Others are getting in. We see this movement, this wall of money coming into Bitcoin, which will trickle down. But the thing is, overall, the big system, the architecture of the system is feeling threatened by this new digital economy. And as it comes closer, there's a ton of, FUD or FOMO one way or the other, to really outline what's going on here. So what happened within the GameStop ramp up, where it went from, single digits to double digits to triple digits and high, we're talking about $400 or $500 in a short period of time, based on a Reddit group. Now the Reddit group is breaking down, analyzing different stocks, and then they move into that stock. Now, the one thing identified was that the brick and mortars, the hedge funds, were attempting to short GameStop by more than 100%. So there was like 140% shorts on GameStop. They were trying to destroy and dismantle GameStop due to their shorts, and they would have financially devastated GameStop, potentially bringing their stock to all-time lows, which would have been extremely devastating for them. And who knows, from the outcome of that, maybe it would have been piecemealed, broken up, closed down. Who knows what would happen to GameStop? Are they suffering and struggling somewhat? However, the people within the gaming space, GameStop is a representative of something. And there are a lot of people within that Reddit group that also still, they wanted to make money, but they're very passionate about GameStop, but also very passionate about what it meant to see these big entities like the hedge funds that were picking on and shorting GameStop, which is what they've been doing for eons. They come up, they gang, they short, and they make their money. But now what we're seeing is, it's interesting, these statements like this, where we were dangerously close to a collapse of the entire system, says Interactive Brokers founder ahead of the GameStop hearing. Now, just some snippets from here. So that's Thomas Petterfee, founder and chairman of Interactive Brokers, detailing Wednesday on CNBC the dire situation which the market stood in late January as individual investors on social media platforms banded together to send a handful of heavily shorted stocks, including brick and mortar video game retailer and movie chain AMC, to sky high levels. So now, what's going on here. So they're looking at this, instead of really focusing in and honing in on what in the world are these hedge funds doing, to where they're able to short, not just short the funds, but they're taking out on margin calls. So it's not even their money. So they're taking options on the short, on margin, utilizing other people's money to short a company and pushing them down almost into oblivion. Now, what are they doing? They're singling out, and we talked about this a little bit the other day, Roaring Kitty, who's Keith Gill, was one of the primaries, independent investor, and one of the primaries on the Reddit group. Now they're singling him out, and the SEC is coming after Keith Gill over all of this. And obviously now there's a lot of conversation and discussion in the space in general. So if we look at this and we say, hey, you know what? Who's going to be the big loser from all of this? The big loser ends up being the retail investor. And it does bleed over into what's going on within the digital asset space as well, because we see this punishment that's coming on right now from the SEC against Ripple. And like you brought up, so the SEC previous chairperson, or what are they called? Commissioners. So a previous SEC commissioner comes out and says, your case is weak. What are you doing? You're not coming over here and really singling out what you're supposed to be doing, which is protecting the retail investor. So why aren't they protecting the retail investor with GameStop? Why aren't they protecting the retail investor when it comes to what's happening with Ripple and XRP? Crazy, right? So, all right, let's see here. I saw somebody sneak in the side door and took a seat in the back with his hat and sunglasses on. Mr. BXRP, what is up? Haven't heard from you a while. Great to see you in here. One day we're gonna drag you on, and we're gonna bring you on to the round table. Okay, here we go. Let's scroll through it. All right, so big losers, retail investors, but it's more than that. It's a lot more than that. I wanted to go into, let's see, where's this next one? It is, okay, here we go. So even more, so now, we see that there are specific representatives within Congress that they're looking at this. So now Congress can either be proactive and take a very proactive approach to identifying problems and solving problems ahead of time, or they can be extremely reactive and only take reactive measures that become more punishing, and they don't think all the way through it. Let me, case in point, Rashida Tlaib is urging financial transaction taxation. Now, on its face, she can say, hey, you know what? We're focusing on taxing the hedge funds because we want to stop them from shorting. But in fact, what's going to happen? They are going to penalize the retail investor. And that's exactly what's happening here. And this is the point. I think it came out real clearly also in this article, where you have, let's see, the majority of Americans support taxing Wall Street transactions, she said. The majority of Americans where? Which majority of Americans are supporting more tax on Wall Street transactions? Could you imagine that? Every time you buy or sell a stock from that point forward, if they were to pass some, penalizing bill like that, every single trade you would have, every transaction would be taxed. That would be the retail investor. That would be the financial institution investor. That would be your 401k. That would be your investments. That would be your IRA. Every transaction would then be penalized with a tax. Who do you think is going to end up paying the tax in the end? Would it be the big hedge funds? Would it be the big financial institutions? Or would it trickle all the way down to the retail customer? Of course, the retail investor would be the one to pay those taxes. This is punishing. This is penalizing. This is reactionary, and it does not help the growth of our economy. So here she is. Ms. Tlaib's comments came as she pressed hedge fund billionaire Ken Griffin about high-speed trading and his opposition to such a tax. He said, we firmly believe that a financial transaction tax would injure Americans hoping to save for retirement. 100%, 100%. And what does she respond? This is her response. This is insane. This is an insane response from a congresswoman that is there to stand up for her constituency and actually do what's right for the American people. She responds, let's not gaslight the American people. Y'all will be fine with a tax. Y'all, come on. What kind of conversation? Who says that? She's from Michigan. you don't say y'all in Michigan, number one, but who says y'all will be fine with a tax? Come on. Is anybody fine with a tax? Nobody's fine with a tax. And it's not going to discourage hedge funds from shorting stock. That's not going to do it. But you are going to penalize the retail investor, and only one will be penalized, and that'll be us, the consumer. So even as we move over into the digital asset space and we look at the digital asset space, what are they doing? They're doing the same thing, vis-a-vis the SEC, coming after Ripple without even thinking about the penalty and the billions of dollars that have been lost, that have been jeopardized since the SEC case was filed December 22nd. They never even thought about it. They haven't even, just not even a question in their mind. The SEC never once came out and said, hey, retail investors that are in the XRP space, I'm sorry, that we ignored Ripple's request for regulatory clarity for the past 7-8 years. But we feel that after 7-8 years, now we're going to bring a case against Ripple, although they've come to us and they've tried to seek regulatory clarity. But in the complaint that we covered, one of their statements was, the attorneys of Ripple back in 2012, maybe alluded in a memo that XRP could possibly be a security. 2012, Bitcoin just came about. There wasn't an attorney on earth that understood the digital asset space, let alone the SEC or anybody in government that even knew what a digital asset was. Nothing, nobody. So for the SEC to even have the audacity to bring up the fact that they even considered the digital asset space and XRP as an unregistered security back in 2012 is complete BS. Complete BS. So who's gaslighting who? The only people that are gaslighting are those members sitting in Congress that have ignored the petitions for regulatory clarity for the past number of years, and the SEC for now making this fictitious case against Ripple, which is damaging and punishing. It's not about Ripple. It's damaging and punishing to the entire space, to everybody in the space, to the retail investors, all those that have been upholding and dealing in this space for the past 10, 11 years. What they're doing with burdensome regulations, because those same burdening regulations of those tax transactions that they want to place on Wall Street is going to trickle over to the digital asset space, because we already know that in the US, every single transaction within a digital asset, if it's a gain, if it's a realized gain, is a taxable event. What kind of BS is that, when in other countries they've already identified that it isn't? However, you go to a place like France, and if you get an airdrop or you mine, if you're mining, you pull that digital asset off that computer and you're taxed. Then if you transact in that digital asset, you're taxed again. Double taxation over in France. So for all those people in France, you guys are being penalized even harsher than anybody else. Stuff like that is crazy, but that's government being overzealous and not understanding the financial aspect or the technical aspect. So you look at somebody like Rashida Tlaib, what is her background and what gives her any legitimacy to have a conversation in finance? None, zero. I believe her background, maybe she was an attorney, but she definitely was not an economist. She definitely did not spend her career building businesses. So she has zero business acumen. She has zero financial knowledge. And yet she wants to make claims that taxing a transaction is okay because the people in Wall Street, y'all be fine with it. You'll be okay with a tax. Come on. That is complete reactionary BS. And that's based on the ideology of penalizing a capitalist form of our capitalist economy. And it's contrary to building and developing in the space. So this definitely, will trickle over to the digital asset space if we're not careful. And that's why it's so critical that we look at everything. You have to look at the whole world, because the digital asset space is growing by leaps and bounds, and it's growing faster than anybody could ever imagine. And that's where the brick and mortars are terrified right now. And even the governments are taking a step, and they don't know how to deal with it. And this is where the SEC, they have no idea how to deal with this thing. No idea. And they're tripping over themselves. It's like they're walking around with their shoelaces untied all day long. I mean, it's unreal. It really is. So, all right, I see DNI in here. I know DNI came in here. I didn't even put up the IMF, the bat signal, but but in he comes. Here we go. Hey, look at Morton. See? Yeah, look at that. Now I'm losing my voice. Look at Morton. Ripple has more former SEC employees than the SEC themselves, probably. No, on payroll legal team than the current. There. That's so funny. That's exactly it. They have more former SEC employees on their payroll and legal team than the current SEC does. Where did the SEC get their attorneys? Where did these attorneys come from? I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. It really is. Oh God. Did you see them talking instant settlement? That to me is like a net win. That if anything comes out of this as they draw this in, the focus on instant settlement in stock would be I mean, that'd be amazing. You buy your stock, you own your stock. No holding period, no 48-hour wait. You sell your stock, you get your money immediately. No holding period, no waiting, transact, get it done. Now, the thing is, when they're trading on margin and options, and and the platform has to run off and get their money, and they have to get their shares, then there's a lot of orchestration. You put all that into the blockchain, you allow like a RippleNet type solution to facilitate this transaction. You put it in the blockchain, boom, you buy that stock, it's tokenized. You've got the serial registration of the stock that you bought. It's on the blockchain, it's permanent. The money gets transacted. Now the money's over there, done. That's it, instant, done within 3 to 4 seconds. Everybody's happy. Move on with your life. And life is good. You go into the DeFi space, you extract a little bit of the I'm losing my words here, but you take out the accident prone, slowing down individuals, that are involved in the process, or the weak process that's involved in it. So anyhow, Ronnie Size, how much they paying you to be here? Who's that? Huh. XR. Oh, I missed the whole thing, but anyhow. Oh, there you go. All you guys are going to get scammed, Nege says. All you guys. Nege, who's getting scammed? What digital asset do you hold? Let me just ask you that question. Number one, put in the chat. Let me know what digital asset you hold, and then let's have a conversation. The entire digital asset space, unless you're not invested in digital asset at all, but the entire digital asset space is speculative. I don't care if you're in Bitcoin. I don't care if you're in XRP. I don't care if you're in XLM. I don't care if you bought BNB coin. I don't care if you're in the DeFi space. At this moment in time, the entire space is speculative. It's building. Now, is it building in the right direction? My opinion, the entire space is moving in the right direction. I believe that the digital asset space is here to stay, and so do people like Michael Saylor, and so do people like Elon Musk. They believe that this space is here to stay. They understand the fundamentals that even Bitcoin represents in the financial space. I'll tell you who else believes passionately in this is Grayscale, with their trust in Ethereum and Bitcoin, and prior they had one in XRP. Someone else that believes strongly in it is Catherine Woods from the ARK Investment Portfolio Fund, that has invested a ton of money and bought a lot of shares of Grayscale as an entry point. into the digital asset space as part of one of her fund portfolios. So there is a ton going on. So you get these fudsters or these Bitcoin maxis or others that want to come in here. Then what are you going to say? You know, just to push your bottoms. It's a joke. I have VET, ZIL, XLM, BTC, ETH. Well, there you go. That's awesome. So, so he got a diversified portfolio. Nice. That's awesome. Appreciate that feedback. All right. Here's something I wanted to go over. Bobby Lee, Elon Musk. Okay, here we go. See if we pull up Elon Musk. Elon Musk defends Tesla's $1.5 billion Bitcoin bet as adventurous enough for an S&P 500 company and says that it's less dumb than holding cash. I love that statement. It's less dumb than holding cash, because if you're holding cash, you're making nothing. If you're holding Bitcoin in the direction the market's moving in, it's smarter than holding cash. It's, you know, maybe not the smartest. It's still adventurous, but it's less dumb than holding cash. I mean, that I love it. You know, it's just great. Tesla's action is not directly reflective of my opinion. Having some Bitcoin, which is simply a less dumb form of liquidity than cash, is adventurous enough for an S&P 500 company. Less dumb, and then you put $1.5 billion into it. Man, that's awesome. I mean, that's just a tremendous statement to say to say something like that. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, here's another big news point that I saw come up, and this is one of the things that we talk heavily about is the blending of the digital asset exchange with the banks. Now, one of the things that I've asked so many of the CEOs from these digital asset exchanges, do they believe that the banks will beat the digital asset exchange to becoming digital asset exchanges, or will the digital asset exchanges beat the banks and become banks before the banks can become digital asset exchanges? Now, we've seen that some of the digital asset exchanges have already moved in the direction of banking. Kraken is one of them over in Wyoming. And there's others that are moving in that direction. We see many of the digital asset exchanges offering banking-like solutions to their communities, whereas the banks are just now kind of figuring out how can they get in to trade digital assets. So this article, and this is the LMAX group, you know, he's saying specifically he sees that the banks are moving into this space. Now, his point was at least one major bank will enter digital assets during 21-1. But we see a whole push because we see that Coinbase about to drop their IPO through a direct listing with a ridiculous valuation, and probably the share price by the time it hits the direct listing is going to be over $300. But here, you know, his point is that the banks see it. The banks definitely see it, but I think this is key. One of the things that he said here, a 13-year-old financial tech company that operates in institutional execution venues. So they're working on foreign exchange, metals, indices, digital assets. It operates 5 exchanges globally, 3 in London, 1 in New York, 1 in Tokyo. They trade $25 billion every single day, but you notice they are trading digital asset. So it's really impressive. With 100 trillion in market cap, it could take just a 5% allocation of that into Bitcoin to increase the Bitcoin market cap 5 times from $1 trillion. That's amazing. That seems more realistic every day as the old guard investors and the institutions see the light in Bitcoin. That's massive. That's massive. I mean, could you imagine 100 trillion market cap in equities and you just get 5%? Now that's realistic, not just according to this guy Mercer, but Catherine Wood from ARK also believes that can happen very, very quickly as corporations, institutions put 1% in, put 5% in, put 10% into Bitcoin. Now the thing is, are they going to stay strictly in Bitcoin? One of the things that we've, focused in and talked about is that when you look at, the top cryptos in the space, the top digital assets, yes, they're going into Bitcoin. It's moving fast. Then they're going to look at the next one on the list. They're going to look at Ethereum. Then they're going to start looking at all the different digital assets possibly in the top 10 and looking based on what looks like it could be potentially, one of the better projects that are out there. Now, as we look at, we can go back through and you can look at the space and they're going to look and say Bitcoin. Yes, that's where we're at. We're at a market cap of 1 trillion. Can we push that market cap to $5 trillion? What does that mean? As a reflective on the price, if this goes up by 5 times. I mean, that's massive. Now, if that's going up, then it's going to pull Ethereum up further. I don't know if BNB goes up further, but they're going to look at projects like Polkadot. They're going to look at projects like Cardano. They're going to look at projects like XRP. They're going to skip over Litecoin possibly. They're going to look down the list. They're going to look at Stellar XLM. They're going to look at Uniswap and say what's going on in the DeFi, decentralized finance space, as they will with Polkadot. And they're going to look at these projects. Then they're going to analyze the projects and say, this is where the future is moving. If we're going to invest and put whatever percentage of the portfolio in Bitcoin, it's time to diversify into the cryptocurrency space, and they need to diversify across the different projects. I believe that's going to happen. Why? Because there's people involved in those decisions, and people at the retail level in their portfolios are going through and they make a very same conscious kind of or subconscious psychological decision as they go down the list here. And many people, when they first got into this space, got into Bitcoin. Then they looked at Ethereum. And then, XRP was in the top listings. Polkadot didn't exist. Cardano might not have been around. Litecoin was big. So we're seeing this idea that's going to be wrapped around this space. And the higher Bitcoin goes, the higher everything else seems to push. So if this market cap goes from 1 trillion and could go up by 5 times, we're looking at, massive movement in the next year. I mean, that's super impressive. I mean, it's amazing. It really is amazing, because he's talking about, right now 100 trillion in equity. You're not talking about moving from anything else, but he's talking about just a 5% allocation. Now, Catherine Wood was saying it with a 1% allocation, it can push, Bitcoin up like $40,000 or $50,000. With a 10% allocation, it's going to push Bitcoin up considerably more. And he's looking at the same thing. So if these guys are looking at it, Elon Musk is looking at it, there's a lot of others that are looking at, what could possibly happen in this space. I mean, it's mind-boggling. All right. So let's see here. Adam, they're probably going to look at projects that are liquid and have regulations. I hope XRP gets the clarity it needs in the lawsuit. Yeah. So I believe, that is definitely something that is important. That has got to be the net outcome of this case, of the SEC versus Ripple, is an outcome to where we see regulatory clarity. I believe that's definitely important. That's definitely a critical outcome with all of this. All right, so let me see. This is interesting. Wall Street will never fit in blockchain. Good luck trying. At some point, it's going to be one or the other, the latter. I tend to agree that the Wall Street, implosion, kind of, so to speak, is happening. Why is it imploding? Because as we start moving towards blockchain, you start moving towards decentralization, you start moving towards the tokenization of securities, it changes the fundamentals and the dynamics of what's happening in this space. The guys that won Wall Street and the big financial institutions, they definitely see the writing is on the wall because this is moving in that direction. Now, if you can tokenize a security, you think about the options of what can happen. So there's already some platforms that allow you to, buy percentages of a stock. Now, if you tokenize that stock, it simplifies the investment in that stock. You could have 1,000 people, buying into one share of stock. So you could get 1,000 people buying one share of Amazon, but you've tokenized it. So now the valuation could potentially be impacted. You got a bigger pool of people that could potentially invest in the positive net outcome of the company, or whatever you're investing in, because then you can tokenize basically anything. You can tokenize artwork, you can tokenize real estate, you can tokenize any possible investment. If you can, instead of launching an IPO, you can tokenize your company. You can tokenize a project within your company. Let's say you have a specific project and your project has the possibility of netting whatever outcome. You can say, hey, Project ABC, we're tokenizing Project ABC. We're going to raise money for it. It falls kind of within a security idea, but that's the direction things are moving in. So if you can get security allowance, you can register the tokenization of that project. Everybody can help you invest in that one specific project, and you're doing a raise for that project. And when that project is successful, then the benefit goes to all those that invested. So there's so much that could, it's just amazing what can happen. It's just amazing. That's it. Yep. So, all right. I wanted to, let me see, where is it? Oh, it's on this tab. Let me see if I got it up. Here we go. Here we go. Share we go. Okay, there were some great comments on our past videos. I just want to shout out some of these because we had Marcus Walter had a great comment over here. He said, what if XRP doesn't pump this cycle due to the lawsuit? I don't believe this will be the case at all. Ripple doesn't settle and they go for the long haul, get the regulatory clarity, and get a green light to implement strategies that will absolutely make them the most utilitarian cryptocurrency out there. Would you hold through all of it? I'd personally keep accumulating. XRP would make a difference in my life, I'll bet small, but transferring money even between two bank accounts at two banks is obnoxious and takes way longer than it needs to. This doesn't even include cross-border payments. If any coin is the future, it's XRP. I think Marcus hit it spot on. 100% spot on with that comment, that even if they don't get an outcome in this of the lawsuit now, and obviously it doesn't look like Ripple's going to settle. It doesn't look like SEC wants to settle. The SEC's tied up in their insanity. This could potentially go the whole way. Maybe they'll settle, maybe they won't. We'll find out after the 22nd. Hopefully they can come to some good conclusion with good regulatory clarity as an outcome, which is what Marcus is also, discussing here. And I believe that that's vital. We have to have this regulatory clarity. With regulatory clarity, you get, not only does Ripple get a green light to implement a lot of the different projects that they're planning. They're talking about decentralization. We see what Flare is doing, Flare incorporating and being interoperable. Now, think about if Ripple loses, what the negative impact will be on the digital asset entirely in the US. Now we're seeing other countries, they've already settled it. It's already moved on, and they've moved on with their life. But great comment from Marcus there. Jose, big hugs from Portugal. We got James tuning in from Maryland over here. Scott, great, good show. Appreciate that. Paul Peter, another one here. Interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is not within the case itself. The questions are, what are the reasons for the manipulation of XRP? Is it to destroy it for another? Is it to temporarily suppress the price for large institutions to take their positions? Is it to bring clarity? Did Ripple tick someone off? The only answer is that it was not random, it was planned. Dive into the reason for it being planned and then make your move. And that's what we were talking about earlier, so really, really great comment there. Rob McDermott, great conversation, guys. Brad, reason they're changing the allegation account is because they're going for settlement and it would increase the SEC payout. Possibly, but the SEC didn't, they tweaked a few things. Yeah, they did tweak the amounts. So, point taken there. Eye of Sauron. It's naive to think that the SEC is not being political with the lawsuit. There you go. The U.S. gains a lot with SWIFT. Good point. That's what we were talking about earlier. Without it, they don't. So they're trying to figure out how to keep the cake and eat it too. I agree. Don't forget, Ripple is the only one threatening U.S. SWIFT. True. The only one's going after SWIFT and the banking conglomerates. So no surprise they went after them at all. 100% spot on. Awesome. Chip, Dwayne here is saying that was a crap posh accent. That was yesterday when we were talking about Chip. Only the British can do posh. So there you go, Chip. Let me see. Here's Gamer for Life. But Ripple did not sell to American retail investors. Good point. Ripple sold to international exchanges where XRP has been cleared not to be a security. Exactly. It was the exchanges that sold to American retail investors. Right. So it's the exchanges that should be sued, not Ripple. I don't know. The exchanges bought it. They bought it not as a security and they sold it not as a security. I don't know that the exchanges should be sued on that one, but yeah. And then Zigzag here. What I'm seeing is the SEC has no case. They start going personal. Instruction from the top to delay the inevitable. It's a joke. Get regulation and let central banks around the world move money as it should be. Let us handle our money the way we want to and stop getting involved. Musk is going to push Doge to $1. All right. He blocked me too. No idea why. But I'm trying to find. There's some other good ones. Here's we got from Saudi Arabia. Was tuning in bright and early for our stream over there. There's another good comment that I wanted to bring up. Let's see. The whole issue here is XRP becomes the world bridge currency. The U.S. loses its world currency status, and they don't want that. I don't know that the XRP is going to impact the U.S. world currency status. What it is going to do, it disrupts SWIFT. The U.S. and others have some leverage over SWIFT, but I believe one of the earlier comments was also stating that they're buying themselves time because you have to figure out how does Ripple then, and RippleNet's a software solution, not too different than, let's say, a SWIFT solution. So I'm positive that there is some regulation already in place being placed on RippleNet to make sure that if it comes to a time where sanctions are being placed on another country, that the U.S. or others can come to Ripple and say, hey, by the way, we need you to shut down the rails to any bank coming out of this country or going to this country. They can do it. They can orchestrate it. I'm sure that that is being baked into the plan as we speak, and possibly due to some of the delay before they go, crazy with their solution. And then Martin was saying Kraken supports XRP completely outside the U.S. So there you go. And man, there's just tons and tons of feedback. Great comments throughout the. There we go. Great comments throughout. Just fantastic. You guys are amazing. The feedback in the chat that we have during our discussions are outstanding. And also on each individual video. So once and if the U.S. exchanges start selling XRP again, will the price increase? And by how much? I don't know that we know by how much, but if the exchanges start selling again, the key here is regulatory clarity. You get some regulatory clarity in the space, it's going to help Ripple, it's going to help XRP, and it's going to help every other digital asset in the space. And we're going to see bigger and bigger movement. The one thing that we do know, Andrew, is that When the SEC filed their complaint on December 22nd, Ripple was at 60 cents. It was on the trajectory following the entire space up. So it's very possible, very likely that XRP would have pushed up towards a dollar plus. It would have been a dollar plus based on where everything else is. And so that's the trajectory it was kind of going in at that point. As soon as the SEC filed their complaint, it brought XRP down to like 20 cents and it disrupted the flow. There was a little bit of tension, a little bit of panic, but now we see a break. There's a clear break of XRP investors from the case, because as the space has moved up, XRP has been moving up as well. As we see it, it's sitting at like 57 cents. It's hit 61, 62 cents again. Can it break even further away from that panic mode? You know, time will tell. Time will tell within the space in its entirety. So you guys are absolutely outstanding. For those that are brand new to the stream, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I know you guys know what to do when you hit the subscribe. If you hit that bell notifier, it makes sure to notify you every time we post a video. But even more so, it helps build the algorithm for the channel. So if you guys can help us out with that, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notifier, give a thumbs up, thumbs down, doesn't matter. It's impact to the channel. Thumbs up definitely help even more because it keeps pushing us into the recommended video slot. But appreciate all you guys. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. Chip didn't say what time he's streaming tomorrow, but Chip will be streaming tomorrow morning at some point. And then tune in 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, exclusively right here on the chain with Chip and I as we go through the roundtable. Look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. And until then, I am out of here. See ya.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.